Hello there, lovely. Good morning, and welcome to the breakfast show on Camnet TV, where we aid you to rise and thrive this particular morning. My name is Joe Smarter, and of course, Nelson is with me. Nelson, good morning.
Morning, Joe, and
you look good.
No, thanks a lot. Although it was not my dream for me to put up something like this.
You look nice.
I will need to make mention that I thought my
put
shirt.
Put up a disclaimer, sir.
I thought my shirt had been ironed, only to be done a Judas by my young brother. Say, yo, I forgot, and there's no power. So what do you do?
Okay.
So I had to look for another alternative to ensure that our viewers out there.
You are adapting to the new normal.
Very important.
Very important.
Exactly.
Okay, your health is your wealth. Let's go into the healthy corner.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. So this week we are talking about cervical cancer. And yesterday we talked about the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. And we said that cervical cancer can present with certain symptoms such as abnormal uterine bleeding, where you bleed in between your periods. You can also have what we call postcoital bleeding, where you bleed after sexual intercourse, or you could have dyspareunia, where you have pain during sexual intercourse. You can also have a bad or an abnormal discharge from the vagina, which can be watery or reddish brownish, and sometimes it can have a bad odor. So those are some of the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. Now, how is cervical cancer diagnosed in the hospital, and how can it be treated if you are found to have cervical cancer? So cervical cancer can be diagnosed in the hospital using what we call a pap smear. So usually this is a test that can be done in females to check if there's any abnormal cells in the cervix. Now, if you have found to have abnormal cells in the cervix, then the doctors will go ahead and do what we call a biopsy to be able to check if these cells are cancerous or if they are not. And if they're cancerous, then how far or how spread are they? Have they gone to other parts of the body as well? Has the cancer spread to other parts of the body? So they would also go ahead and check other organs in the body, such as the chest, to see if there is any metastasis in the chest, if there is any likelihood that the cancer has spread to the chest or to any other parts of the body. So they would also check your liver function and your kidney function as well, just to make sure that your kidneys and your liver are functioning well. Now, if you are found to have this cancer, cervical cancer, how is it going to be treated in the hospital? So usually there are different methods of treatment, and the treatment will depend on the type of cancer that you have and at which stage it is. So there are different stages of cervical cancer. There are some people who have cervical cancer that is early stage, and others can have it in the end stage. So depending on the stage of cervical cancer that you are at, then your treatment will be based on the stage that you are at. So what are some of the treatment options? Some of the options of treatment are chemotherapy, where you are given certain medications that will kill those cancer cells and also prevent you from the cancer from coming back again. Then there's also what we call radiotherapy, where you are exposed to certain radioactive chemicals that will treat or shrink that cancer and also treat or kill the cancer cells as well. Then usually sometimes you would need to have an operation or a surgery, where the cervix is removed, and so as they are removing the cervix, they might also remove the uterus, and that would be a different type of treatment depending on the stage that you're at as well. So these are some of the treatment options that people with cervical cancer have. So depending on whether it has spread to other parts of the body, they will decide on what treatment to give you. So today we're talking about cervical cancer and the diagnosis and the treatment of cervical cancer. And we say that cervical cancer can be tested in the hospital. They can do a test known as a pap smear that can show if there are any abnormal cells. And this pap smear will determine whether they do a biopsy to check if the abnormal cells are cancerous or not. And if you are found to have cancer, then they can give you certain medications such as chemotherapy or radiation therapy, or if there is need, then they would need to do an operation and remove that cancer in the cervix. So that is how cervical cancer can be treated in the hospital if you are found to have cervical cancer. And so it's important that you get yourself screened for cervical cancer if you want to be able to get the best treatment for cervical cancer. So make sure if you are 21 years and above, get yourself screened at least every 3 years to check if you have cervical cancer, to see if there is cervical cancer. If you are found to have it in the early stage, the chances of survival are greater and the chances of better treatment are even greater. So thank you for watching. I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you watch again tomorrow when we'll be talking about how you can prevent cervical cancer. And also, if you missed any other episodes, make sure that you also catch up on my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfayasiameka, where I post all these videos and you'll be able to watch whatever you have missed in the past. So make sure you watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfayasiameka. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us. Hope you learned one or two things from our resident doctor there, talking about issues that have to do with cancer. But for now, we go into the money market. Nelson?
Let's get to look at the money market. There you have it on your screen. The Great British Pound this morning is buying at 30.85 Ingwe and selling at 31.45 Ingwe. The United States dollar, oh my goodness, it has hit 25 and it's buying at 24.55 Ingwe and selling at 25.03 Ingwe. And I think this is a discussion that I had as of yesterday, where I was predicting that we might see a surge in terms of the dollar increasing, because for some time we've seen instability between the kwacha as well as the dollar relationship, where to some extent you find yourself that you're 20, tomorrow you're 21, the other minute you're 23, the other minute it is at 26.
Very unstable.
Very unstable, which has actually even led to some businesses maybe shutting down and some other businesses struggling. And moving on, let's get to the euro, where we've seen that the euro is buying at 26.39 Ingwe and selling at 26.91 Ingwe. The South African rand is buying at 1.31 Ingwe and selling at 1.33 Ingwe, and hopefully things get just to stabilize, because the major concern really lies on the United States dollar, because it is the major currency that is used when we talk issues relating to business. If you are thinking of importing a car, they will definitely do the rates in dollars, and you as someone who's importing that car into Zambia will have to do the convention and everything into kwacha now, meaning that at this point you have to feel that pinch. Even if you're getting an equipment, it doesn't have a tax waiver. It becomes very difficult, and hopefully things get to stabilize, because these are things that are in public domain, and we've also received assurances and assurances after assurances that things are going to stabilize.
Assurances might be there, Nelson, but the issue is, are we able to implement? That's what we need to be looking at and talking about. Assurances can be there, but what measures are we taking or putting in place to make sure that the assurances that are being made are actually being actualized at the end of the day? Millennials, yes, they might be new, but they should know that there's a time when the dollar, $1 was equivalent to 4 kwacha.
To 4 kwacha, yes.
4 kwacha. And people bought cars. One person would buy even 5 cars. You know what I mean? Talking about importing cars. So we need to go back to those years, and of course using the UPN. I'm always putting the UPN on the spotlight because they said they were going to reduce the cost of living, and obviously the kwacha to 15 kwacha or 10 kwacha. So we keep reminding them and holding office bearers accountable for the promises and assurances that they've made. We are the media, and this is our role to make sure that politicians, lawmakers, civic leaders fulfill their promises, and they deliver to the people, the general public, what they need to deliver. Right now, it was raining in Lusaka yesterday, Nelson, and you could tell when you're using the road that branches off from Kalingalinga coming into Kablonga, and how dilapidated it is.
Camnet road.
Yes, how flooded it was, and that's the road that most ministers use, because most of them live in Brentwood. That's where most of our High Court judges live. It's used by prominent figures, that particular road, and prominent figures reside in Kablonga. But when you look at that particular road, it leaves much to be desired. Nothing is being done year in, year out. It's just wasting away and getting more and more deplorable by the day. So these are some of the things that we need to remind, for instance, the councillor for that particular ward, the MP for that particular ward, what intentions do they have for that particular road, and the people that reside in that particular area. Same applies when you go to, for instance, Mandevu constituency, part of Mandevu constituency near Manchinchi Road.
Yes.
You have a road there that passes through Garden Police.
Yes, Garden Road. Yes, Garden Road.
Yes.
It has been historical for some time, and we've seen talks go on without anything.
But we can appreciate one councillor.
Yes.
One councillor, it's not even his word. It's not even his word, but he has been consistent. And I'm talking about Adrian Banda. He has been consistent. Last time we saw him patching up the same road, getting members of the public just to make sure that they work on that particular road. But when it comes to successful governments, nothing has been done to address the plight of that particular road. When you are driving on that road, you might think that maybe your car suddenly
stopped working.
No, not stopped working, but you might think that maybe
you're in a ditch.
You've suddenly driven into a fish pond.
Anyway, in case you're joining us this morning, this is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, the Thursday, where we talk everything politics, policy, as well as governance. And we are your host, Nelson Zula, as well as Kavel or Joe Simata. And wherever you're watching us from, be it on Go TV channel 25, DSTV channel 274, as well as Facebook and YouTube, you can definitely give us your views as well as your comments on the comment section, especially on Facebook, as well as making sure that you give us that call via the numbers on your screen, and we'll be very appreciative to hear from you in terms of what you think. And definitely, if you are also celebrating your birthday today, it's happy birthday to you, simply so that we are also celebrating our own at Camnet TV in Sarah Chanda Mubanga, who's celebrating her birthday today, and we say happy birthday to her. And definitely, if you are joining in now, let's get into the world of politics, where we've seen that so much talks, so much mixed feelings have been expressed when we talk of the United Kwacha Alliance. It is something that has been talked about from different people. Even at the time, there was a demolition at Nyale Market, of which is now seeing a facelift. We saw names such as Uka popping up. We saw names such as, we would like to see something change in the political landscape. But this is a story that we got an update from, as of government also having reaffirmed that they didn't oppose the formation of the United Kwacha Alliance.
And they shouldn't.
And they shouldn't, right? But we got an update from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And Joe, I'm very much sure that you're ready to run us through.
Okay, let's go through this particular story. Now, this story reads, government says the United Kwacha Alliance, UKA, is an illegal entity as it is not registered in any form. Speaking during a press conference Wednesday morning, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, says the alliance is not a pressure group or a political party, hence it's non-existent legally. We go on this particular clip. When we come back, we expect to get your calls, texts, and obviously engage with us on our Facebook page. We'll be right back.
The Zambia Police Service cannot grant the United Kwacha Alliance a permit to hold a rally as the entity is illegal. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Jack Mwimbu, says it will be irresponsible for the police, which enforces the law, to entertain an illegality. Speaking during a press conference Wednesday, Mr. Mwimbu said UKA is not registered either as a political party or a pressure group, stating that no such application was ever received.
As far as we are concerned, as a ministry that is responsible for the registration of societies in this country, UKA is an illegal entity or society established under the laws of this country. It would be irresponsible. It would be irresponsible on the part of the police to give authority to do whatever to an organization that is not legally established.
Mr. Mwimbu says UKA Alliance is only being tolerated given Zambia's democratic nature, but cannot participate in elections in its form.
They are associated to that illegal institution, then they are illegal. But I cannot say if people have decided to assemble, there are more than 3 or 4, that is an illegal gathering. No, that's not what I'm saying. But why have we taken the law against them? The answer is no. Let them just do what is right and what is correct as per provisions of the law of this country. That's all. I also want to state, we have heard where people have been saying from the time we came in, we have never allowed any political rally to take place. Please, I repeat. On the Copper Belt, the Socialist Party were supposed to hold their rally. Nobody, I repeat, nobody had stopped it.
The Minister of Home Affairs has since urged the group to formalize itself by formally applying for registration at the Registrar of Societies. Reacting to the minister's statement during a press conference Wednesday afternoon, UKA chairperson Sakwiba Skota SC insisted that the legalization of the entity is being stalled by the state.
If Honorable Jack Mwimbu is being sincere, then let him call us of the United Kwacha Alliance and tell us, please do ABCD so that we quickly finish this. We have been seeking to see the registrar. Each time I've gone there, she's not there. And the poll is actually in their court, not in our court. We've got the documents waiting for their response. So let's be fair to each other. let us be honest to the Zambian people, to let them know actually what their status is. So in terms of the political party, that is definitely going to be.
Cherish Sibote. For Camnet News, Lusaka.
Okay, and we are back, and that was the story that we had yesterday, and it's still making headlines. It's still within 24 hours, so that simply means that that particular story, Nelson, is still making headlines. It's not yet stale. That's what we say. It's not yet stale.
So it's still professionally.
Professionally. So it's still making headlines. However, it's a very good story that borders, in fact, let me say juicy story, that borders on the democratic tenets of this particular country, Nelson. However, one notable thing from the minister, for me, I feel he seems to be giving instructions to the police command. And I believe, yes, he is the Minister of Home Affairs, but the police command should be left to work independently. Now, there have been concerns that the IG could be getting instructions from higher authorities from that particular ministry. And you can tell from the words of the minister during that press conference, press briefing, it simply shows it all or confirms what people have been suspecting, Nelson. And to remind the minister and also stakeholders is that us as the media, we don't forget, and us journalists, we don't forget that even the UPND as a party, as an alliance, when it came together with its alliance partners, because what we know is that it's an alliance government, though most of the alliance leaders, one of them is Mr. Joseph Sakafumba, the permanent secretary. He was in that particular clip. We saw him.
Felix Mtati.
Honorable Felix Mtati. We also have Dr. Daniel Shumunza.
Yes.
We also have Mr. Tabo Kawana, who was the MDC spokesperson. We also had many people,
such as Leslie Chukuse.
Mr. Leslie Chukuse was given, is it commissioner?
Yes.
So all these alliance partners have been given jobs, and now we don't even know whether it's an alliance government or it still has alliance partners. We are not too sure. However, the point that I'm trying to underscore is, look, the UPND itself, when it came into power, it came as an alliance party. Though everyone was swallowed up under the umbrella of UPND alliance. You get my point? But nobody, at no point did anybody task them to say, no, you need to re-register and say UPND alliance. You get? UKA as a pressure group, or as a political party, or as a group of politicians, for me, according to the law, it doesn't need to be registered for them to gather. You get? It doesn't need to be registered for them to gather. You and I can decide to gather, provided that we go and notify the police, not even getting a permit. We notify the police that we want to gather at this particular place. Are you going to offer security or not? Is it safe to gather at this particular place? Theirs is to say, okay, fine, we have enough manpower, we'll offer security. Or we do not have enough manpower, so maybe do it at your own risk, but just be careful. Or source for your own security personnel.
Yeah, and pertaining to this issue also, I was looking at some of the comments that were just coming through via social media. Others were arguing to say the United Kwacha Alliance would have made a grave mistake by attempting to register the alliance as a pressure group, simply because they are citing that the UPND alliance never attempted to register that as an alliance, because they all just did indicate that we're going to rally behind the UPND.
And nobody took them to task.
No, and nobody took them to task. So now, I think one issue that for me basically would be a concern is that why is it that most of the times when we've seen that political players do really want to hold some sort of a public gathering, and they inform the police that they've got such intentions, most of the times the excuse that is given is that there's no enough manpower. But given other circumstances, you find that police officers are going to be there. For instance, if someone has been summoned by the police, or someone is appearing before a police for interviews, you find that police police presence is going to be there. But what happens to those politicians or political players that do make intentions known to say we want to hold a public rally and we want to have maybe some sort of interaction with the people, but the response basically generally is given, we do not have manpower. So where does the manpower all of a sudden appear from?
No, it's the instructions. You can clearly tell. This is in public domain. It's already in the open. You can tell from what the minister was saying. You can just tell. If you are using, if you are being objective, and because Zambia is always politically charged, so if you suspend your political lenses and just be objective, you are able to see that in that particular press briefing, the minister is clearly stating to you and I and the rest of the Zambian citizens that we are giving these instructions to the police, and they should, you heard him, they should not at any point allow UCA to gather, because it's non-existent. It's not a pressure group. It's not a political party.
Maybe one of the concerns would be the fact that it's not registered, and what happens if they are given a go-ahead to go and do this rally with the people in Kafue, for instance, and all of a sudden, I'm not saying that violence is going to characterize the gathering, and all of a sudden this gathering that characterizes there's violence that characterizes the gathering, and there's no one to hold at ransom for that violence. What happens? Maybe those are the fears from the side of government.
And who's going to cause that violence?
Maybe, for instance, look, there's a lot that happens in politics.
Violence is always sponsored. In most cases, violence is always sponsored.
But we've never had
in
proof.
the political
But
scene.
we've never had proof, Joe, to indicate that. You see, this violence was sponsored by this person.
No.
Sponsored by
In the political circles, come on, politicians are our friends. In most political circles, violence is always sponsored. That much you know. Violence in political circles is mostly sponsored. You get. When look, these are individual political parties. Okay, you have the Golden Party, led by I like to call him the young man, Jackson Slavwe. Then you have this political party, New Heritage Party, led by our mother, Madam Sharakateka. Then you have Leonard Council, Sakwiba Skota, leading the Liberal Party. You also have the young man as well, Kasonde Mwenda, leading EFF.
But he pulled out.
He pulled out? Okay, fine. We saw him in that particular clip. He was one of them. Then you have individual parties that have come together. So if, for instance, Citizen First, led by Honorable Hari Kalaba, says, okay, fine, we would like to hold a political rally, then they bring together all those members. Are you going to say it's UCA gathering? Look, what used to happen during the previous administration, we cannot all say everything was wrong. Yes, there were some things that were wrong. The police were unleashed on the now President Hakainde Hichilema, and obviously some lives were lost. But this is the time for the UPND to do the right thing, change the narrative, and have a paradigm shift altogether. Why? It's because the Zambian people, 2.8 million that voted for the UPND, have got so much faith, or had so much faith in the UPND to change the political landscape of this country. But for me, being objective, I feel like we are regressing, going back to what used to happen. Like what Mr. Honorable Kampiongo has said, that we used to allow the UPND to gather even during COVID. You get my point? That's like somebody telling you to say, but I was nice to you. Yes, I might have not been fair, as in being fair, but I used to be nice to you. You get my point?
Could it also be that the approach, maybe from the side of the United Kwacha Alliance, is not really adding up? Because, look, we were told that we've gone to look at the registration issues, but here's the ministry that is in charge of ensuring that the same grouping is is registered, do making indications that we didn't receive any sort of application either to register this alliance as a political party or as a pressure group. And one of the things also that one might be asking is that how does the pressure group find itself on the ballot? Because it's more of an advocate organization.
Look, in that particular press conference, I would have been very satisfied if the minister was citing the law, the supreme law of the land, which is the constitution. If he cited some articles of the law regarding how an alliance should conduct itself, how a pressure group should conduct itself, how a political party should conduct itself, I would have been very satisfied and I would have commended the minister. However, he is a learned lawyer, very accomplished lawyer for that matter, and for me it leaves much to be desired that no piece of legislature was cited by the minister in that particular press briefing. Why? Look, you don't need to register an alliance, a political alliance. Individual political parties decide to come together.
But look, this alliance decided to have the alliance registered.
They wanted to register the alliance as a political party. That's another discussion, that's another issue. But when individual political parties come together and say, we are now forming an alliance, they don't need to register. You get? But if they say we want to be on the ballot, we're forming a coalition, we want to be on a ballot, then that again is another issue, because there will be issues of we want to have a presidential candidate now, we want to have a running mate and everything. Have they said anything about the running mate? The answer is no. Have they said anything about a presidential candidate? The answer is no. Yes, there have been reports in the media suggesting that former President Edgar Lungu is Uka and Uka is former President Edgar Lungu. But we're able to see that the chairperson of that particular party is Leonard Council, Sakwiwa Scotta. You get my point. So, look, the UPND are in charge. They are running the affairs of this country. And they shouldn't be seen to be afraid of anyone who has a dissenting voice or anyone who has divergent views. You get? Because they're in power right now. They're in charge. So, why can't you level the playing field? You allow political parties to gather, you allow your political opponents to gather. At the end of the day, you lose nothing. Because the general public will be giving you feedback. If, for instance, in the ways of the millennials anyway, if they're feeling you, or if they're not still vibing to you as a political party, they'll let you know through the rallies that your opponents are going to be having. They'll let you know. You look at how many people are gathered at that particular rally, then you go like, okay, why are these people buying into the message, for instance, of Harry Kalaba? Why are they buying into the message of Sakwiwa Scotta? Why are they buying into the message of Sean Tembo? Why are they buying into the message of Jackson Slavwe? You get that feedback. But one thing I've noticed from the UPND is that they are allergic to public feedback. They do not want public feedback. And that's where now the communication process is not being effective in the UPND, because they don't want feedback. It's more like you say good morning, I'm expecting you to reply or respond, then you don't respond. You get?
Yeah, and this comes really at the time when the former Republican president did make it clear now that despite, you remember that on the 28th of October 2023, he did mention that he was returning to active politics, not to contest any election. But surprisingly, should have been the other night on a Tuesday. In the evening, the president did make, the former president rather, did make this remark in his quest, as he was encouraging the Shipolopolo girls when they were in Morocco, that look, you need to push harder, just like I am trying again to form government. So now, don't you feel that that statement also puts in a lot of questions in terms of what really the alliance would really want to ponder on?
Can I tell you something? If you are if you're a political amateur, or if you are if you're a political amateur, or if you are an amateur journalist in politics, you would take whatever former President Edgar Lungu says seriously. Why am I saying so? Former President Edgar Lungu has devised a mechanism of poking the UPND, and once he pokes them, they react. You get? And he's using that. It's politics at the end of the day, so we're addressing it. He uses that to his advantage, because every time he pokes them, the praise singers will be emotional. The ministers themselves, you could tell from the minister, he held the press briefing just after our former president wished the Chipolopolo girls all the best. Look, you beat this man when he had all government machinery. When he was the commander-in-chief, you dethroned him from the opposition, using, of course, the Zambian people with the mandate. Let us not forget, from the Zambian people, they've given you this mandate to govern and do things right. But every time the person you defeated, your so-called opponent, when he comes out in public, you all become reactive, you all become emotional. Why should it be like that? You defeated this man. The best thing they can do, on the other hand, is to focus on developing this country, is to focus on fulfilling their promises, is to focus on, like what the president said on the Copper Belt yesterday, that he wants to double the economy. That should be the focus of the UPND. Reducing the cost of living, making sure that a bag of meal is reduced. You get my point? Making sure that these issues we have against the kwacha and the dollar are addressed. You know, not that when your former political opponent comes out in public, you all become jittery, you all become scared. Look, the man knows how to play politics. He comes out, he does something, you are all scared. You are all having press briefings, going for press briefings and trying to address certain issues. It shouldn't be like that. Look, Zambia at the end of the day is not for an individual. You come, political parties come and go. The UPN will be here today, tomorrow they won't be there. Another political party will come, it will be here today, tomorrow it won't be there. You get my point?
It's a growing democracy. It's
a growing democracy, and people should now wake up and smell the coffee that we are not here to stay. We've got a limited time, and political power as we know it, it's temporal. No matter how much you think you're going to be there, at the end of the day you're going to leave. For instance, who knew that the PF would leave? Even themselves, they fail to believe that they've left. They've left power. Who knew that the PF would leave? Who knew that the MMD would leave? Who knew that KK, he even had a word that he used to say that KK Wamiaya.
Anyway, let's get to move on, Joe.
You know what I mean.
Let's get to move on, Joe, and look at these two stories as we get to usher in our guest this morning, who's already in the studio, and ensure that we keep this conversation going and also get a perspective from those that are already on the political ground and who understand how Zambian politics has evolved over time. And one of the stories that we also get to look at as we just get to prepare to usher in our guest this morning is Republican President Hakainde Hichilema calling on European Union investors to consider adding value to the Zambian copper within the country. President Hichilema urged the AU investors to form business ventures with Zambians in order to ensure a win-win business partnership that will result in a sustainable development for both parties. We'll also get to look at a story where Zesco Limited says it has incurred losses exceeding 14 million kwacha due to the replacement of vandalized power transmission equipment such as transformers and cables. Zesco spokesperson Matongo Maombi discloses that the utility is currently investigating a suspected syndicate following a rise in vandalism cases targeting Zesco transformers across the country. This is one of the stories that we get to look at this morning, and when we're back on the other side, we continue with the discussion when we talk Zambian politics as our guest gets to be ushered into the studio rather, and keep it on Camnet. We'll be back shortly.
Copper to be specific, but beyond copper for us, we want to promote more than copper. Copper, cobalt, nickel,
manganese, lithium, best minerals, and many others. So the issue here I am referring to is the genesis of what brought us here. So we're very glad that following those meetings, we had one forum, EU-Zambia Business Forum. We had another which was dedicated on pharmaceuticals. And today we are here on another EU-Zambia Business Forum dedicated on copper, the mineral sector, and what we want to do with it, so that we break the centuries-old culture of the EU-Africa business relationship. I whispered to the ambassador in the room when she was briefing me here, that this country, and I can speak for other countries on this continent, want to break the old model of the EU-Africa business relationship, partnership. Primarily, we want to do exactly what this forum is talking about, to value add, to stop we as a continent, a country in the continent, to keep on exporting raw materials.
In recent weeks, ZESCO Limited, the leading power utility company in Zambia, has been facing a surge in vandalism targeting its infrastructure. Following a period of load shedding, transformers and cables have become the primary victims of these destructive acts. These acts of vandalism have wreaked havoc on the power infrastructure, leading to frequent power outages and substantial financial losses for both ZESCO and its consumers. The dismantling of transformers and the theft of valuable materials from cables have disrupted electricity supply to communities and businesses, undermining socio-economic development in the affected areas.
Vandalism has greatly affected the operations of ZESCO Limited in a sense that where we want to progress, we are made to regress. Because if we have a transformer that is servicing an area, we would want to put a transformer in a new area, new connections. So we find that we end up now replacing transformers. I think this quarter alone, we've replaced about 70 transformers. That's a huge cost. That's where the 14 plus million kwacha is coming from in terms of the losses that we are making as an institution just because of vandalism. So we are very happy that we are working very well with the Zambia Police Service. We do patrols together, we go in the field together, and also the community have been very much helpful. Just this morning,
Mr. Mahombi has further revealed that the power utility company is actively working to uncover the suspected syndicate behind these acts of vandalism, which have resulted in the loss of over 14 million kwacha in covering the damage costs. The rise in cases have prompted ZESCO to collaborate closely with the Zambia Police to enhance patrols in vulnerable areas and apprehend the perpetrators.
He was sentenced to 6 months effective 23 March 2024. And so when we have such vigilance from the community, then we can be able to reduce and in the end stop vandalism. So what we urge the community also is let them be on guard on key installations like transformers. If you see someone suspiciously walking around the transformer or doing something on the transformer and it's not someone from ZESCO, normally someone from ZESCO would come with a ZESCO vehicle and also they'll be dressed in ZESCO kind of uniform and they'll have an ID. But if you just find someone making some adjustments at the transformer, please ask them and also report, because that's the first sign of someone tampering with the electricity infrastructure. Because once that transformer...
As ZESCO continues its efforts to combat the surge in vandalism, the company remains dedicated to protecting its infrastructure and minimizing the impact on its consumers. By working closely with the law enforcement agencies, ZESCO aims to put an end to this disruptive act and ensure a reliable power supply for all. Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Osaka.
For the invitation through the office of the DC, who represents the government of the European, and thanking you as consultants, I think, together with the RDA, our local authority are here I'm one of the person who is so controversial. Not because I hate the government of the UPND. I support UPND. Being an activist, I've been always standing to push these people so that they deliver, because the only hope that we have for this road to be done is under UPND. So it is quite a privilege and an opportunity to hear. I think the information I had to disseminate to the people, maybe longly, I'll now disseminate the correct information because I'm present. Meaning, it is time to work hand in hand with this office, the council, the councillors and the party, and yourselves. I'm sure timely he will be updating us because we may not be available in every meeting. Where need be, where they need gravel, we own the soils on behalf of the chief. So definitely not politicize. Whoever will politicize this development, I think, becomes our enemy of development. So my duty to represent the fellow headmen, I'm a headman. I will try by all means to work with the government of the local authorities and the councillors so that we provide you quality soils that will make us a road, because as he has indicated, from the time the world was created, I'm not indicating the independence, I'm indicating when the time the world was created, we never had a tarmac. This is a blessing. So DC, thank you so much. Local authority, thank you so much. The party, our leader, our civic leader, we say thank you. And please, we hope that this thing works out. And we'll be praying so that you don't die until you deliver. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, those were the stories there. You saw the president. He's on the cover belt, and he'll be there for the next 5 days, working visit. And you also saw a headman urging members of the public and people in his chiefdom not to politicize any development taken in that particular area. Nelson, at this point in time, we do have our guest, Mr. Kondwela Sakala. He is UPPZ Secretary General. Mr. Sakala, good to see you. Happy New Year, since I saw you a long time ago. And welcome to Camnet Breakfast.
Thank you so much, Joe. It's my pleasure to be here, and being the first time, Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
All the viewers of Camnet.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very interesting.
Nelson?
United, prosperous and peaceful Zambia. Secretary General, Mr. Kondwela Sakala. If you translate it into our own language, you understand that Kondwela just simply means be happy. And I can see that he's happy, smiling. But
so direct English translation, happiness.
Yes, happiness.
Okay.
Yes. But let's get to also look at the aspect if the same happiness really does apply when he takes a look at what is currently happening in the country's political landscape from the UPPZ point of view.
Thank you so much, comrade. Apparently, like you say, my name is. For me, whether good or bad, I'll still be me and I'll still be happy. But I always cry for my mother Zambia and the people at large, and to many places that I've gone to in the rural areas, of course, even in the communities where people. I will not run away from the facts and the reality on the ground. People are crying, people are complaining. Me being happy, of course, doesn't make me happy to see my brothers and sisters in the rural areas having no meals, like the current situation in the farming sector where we never had a good raining pattern. So, in short, my name and the happenings around is something that I have to carry with, because it doesn't make me happy.
One might argue to say, as we get to lay down the foundation this morning, one might argue to say, where is the united, prosperous and peaceful Zambia been? Because for some time, maybe it has not been seen on the ballot. And what is happening? Do we still have hope in this political party to ensure that it's going to speak for the people in terms of what might be currently ongoing, or the challenges that these people that you just talked about might be facing?
Thank you so much. I think hosting me today. I'll clear the air and my comrades that I think you have not dug deeper. In short, we are just coming from a by-election in Kanchibia. UPPZ won that election. We beat UPND and all the political parties.
No, we are aware of that.
Oh.
We are aware of your video.
No, I thought my comrade is saying we are not there.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. But I can assure you, the message we carried to that place, Kanchibia, won us an election. It was appealing to the people in Kanchibia. And definitely to most part of Zambia, where I've gone to, our message is the best because it is a proper message. It appeals, you know, to the Zambian people and the situation we are in today. Like, you know, UPPZ simply means United, Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia. So as UPPZ, we want to unite this country. Not just the slogan we have always talked about, the one Zambia, one nation, without the practice it needs. As we are saying, we want practical part of uniting the country economically. Zambia needs to be united. The people in the rural areas today, when I take you, my comrade, to your village, you will see the difference from where you are coming from. Why? Because certain group of people have prioritized the other group to say these are most important, the people in the urban areas.
Why is it like that in the political landscape, especially amongst you politicians?
We always say this is our stronghold.
This is our stronghold. So if this is our stronghold, we will take development there because the people of Central Province vote for us more. So we're going to prioritize. And then, if for instance that's the ruling party at that particular time, then that particular area is perceived to be an opposition stronghold, then the ruling party won't take development there because they believe this is a stronghold for the opposition political party. Isn't the cake supposed to be shared equally? Aren't we all Zambians?
That is the reason why the president of UPPZ, before forming the party, he saw all these divisions in the country, and he came up with this party called United, not just in word or in slogan, to say one Zambia, one nation, but you mean otherwise. Not because you have a candidate who is representing your party in that area. No, Zambia is one, regardless of the people that are in Shamambo, regardless of those people staying in the remote areas. Those are Zambians who needs to be cared for by the sitting government.
But one might argue to say this administration, for instance, has made headways in terms of ensuring that there's peace as well as unity in the country. One of the examples that we can cite as one of the closest is that Chief Chitimugulu has been invited to grace this year's Komboka ceremony in Western Province.
Just like Deli Tunga was invited to grace Umtomboko.
Yes.
No, Kusefia Pangwe. Sorry, the crocodile. I wanted to I'm not Bemba, but I wanted to throw in a tribal cousin joke.
Yes.
But I'll leave it there.
Yes, but
I'll leave it there. But yes.
Those are some of the arguments that are in public domain to say, look, even CDF to some extent has united these people because money is allocated according to each constituency. If it means a constituency in Lusaka is going to get 18 million, a constituency in Shangombo or Lundazi should also get 18 million. How do you wish, or how do you see this practicality coming to your end to ensuring that the unity that we are talking about is actually actualized?
Talking about traditional invitations, that has been there. Unless you tell me that you have not been in Zambia and that you just came in the New Dawn government. You bear witness with me that traditional leaders have been visiting each other.
Yes.
I attended some traditional ceremony in Northwestern Province. I saw a lot of traditional leaders there from Bemba land and across. So that has been there, not in the New Dawn. I'm talking about in the previous regimes. That has been the practice. So that cannot interpret the unity we should be talking about. No. We are talking about the unity in development. People have been united. You and me, we have been brothers. In PF, you were there as a journalist. You invited me at some point.
Much.
Sure, and this is the new Dawn government. You have done the same thing. That doesn't make us to say no because we are new Dawn government now. There's unity. No. We are talking about the current government taking the development of the same, like in the urban to that remote area, in the rural areas. You have seen, if you have been following President Charles Chanda, he has been posting certain structures in this country, in the remote areas, where you cry and complain, to say as if there is no talk about the CDF, as if there is no government responsible over the people and their welfare. And that has been happening. That's why we are saying, as you people said, we want to see this development you are seeing here. Electricity, that's why, sometimes I conclude that governance is a scam.
Okay.
Yes, because I will not talk too much about electricity in the rural areas and make it as if it's a miracle. While as in the urban, electricity should be part of life. And when it goes, people complain and fight. Do you see the people in the rural areas complaining about electricity? No, because they have made it like it's part of their life to be in darkness, without electricity, without whatever it is, without clean water, and so on. It has become part and parcel of them. That's why today they can't complain. And that's why, as UPPZ, we are saying, we want to change the narrative. We want every Zambian to enjoy the Zambia we are talking about. That national cake should be enjoyed, my brother.
Now that we've laid the foundation, there's this topical issue that has engulfed the country, and it comes amidst concern that the country's democratic space is actually shrinking, as also cause of the former Republican president to actually see himself again on the ballot, just like he did indicate recently with one might make reference to one of most common song that is known in Zambia, that he's trying again for the second time. And as of yesterday, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu did indicate that the United Kwacha Alliance is illegal, and as such it shouldn't even be making attempts to hold public rallies. Do you feel that is a step in the right direction, and is the country's democratic space shrinking?
I've always cried for this country, and the people that yesterday, I mean the current government, which yesterday they were in the opposition, crying over the same democratic and the freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and so on. They cried so much, but it's such disappointing to see the likes of Honorable Jack Mwimbu see them issue such statements. As long as you are a Zambian, if you want, let's say, to associate with whoever, I do that without any apology to anybody.
Do you need to register yourself to associate?
No. There's no law like that. You get it? Huh? I mean, I am on the line. If I want to associate myself with him, I don't need to go and meet the registrar.
Of societies?
No. Unless this thing now has gone west.
But the freedom, the Constitution and obviously the Bill of Rights provides for the freedom of assembly. So why is the minister getting all these semantics? Where is he getting this from?
For me, I'll conclude that he has the fear of unknown. The people that he wants to stop, he doesn't know what he is doing. The minister, apparently, we should forgive him because he doesn't know what he's doing.
But he's a Leonard Council.
It doesn't matter. Like just previously, in the last interview I had, people were talking about, no, economists have done A or B. I always say it. To be an economist is just a title. The practice is different from the title. You have heard Christians, certain Christians, they'll claim, we are a Christian, I am a Christian. But if you find them doing what they are doing, you'll be afraid and you'll run away. That's what I'm saying. The title the man is carrying is different from his practices. You understand? But the issue is Zambia will not change. Zambia has got no favoritism or certain group of people. Because you are in power, you think you are more Zambian, and certain laws should be more appealing to you than the others. It shouldn't be like that.
Why is that the case? We saw it, for instance, with KK towards the end of his regime. We could tell, may so rest in peace, by the way. That's our founding father.
Sure.
We're just using him as a reference point.
Not a problem.
With all due respect.
Thank you.
We saw that towards the end of his tenure, that he adopted a style of leadership that many people would say maybe it was a bit arrogant, why he would tell one of his ministers to say, stand up, sit down, and then fast forward, the MMD, may so rest in peace, former President Chiluba as well, towards the end of his tenure, we saw that. And also, basically what I'm trying to say is that politicians, why do you forget easily? The same laws that the UPND were saying they are archaic, they need to be repealed, they need to be replaced. Now when we come in, we won't instruct the police to do ABCD. But from the clip that we played earlier, it's so clear that the minister is giving instructions to the police. Why do you tend to forget once you get into power? Is it because you are drunk with power? Is it because you feel more Zambian because you are in power and forgetting that political power is temporal?
This is the lack of leadership. You know, leadership is not attained by these documents we carry. We attain. No.
Okay.
It's a natural character. In fact, it's God-given. If you are not a leader, whether Zambians by mistake they put you there, you will still demonstrate your lack of leadership. That's what we are seeing. Yes, that's what we are seeing.
The UPND is exhibiting inadequacy.
They are, from just the minister's statement, you will see that this is lack of leadership. Why can't the police be left and operate independently? Is the minister telling me that the police don't know? They need to be instructed. If anything, it is an insult in the face of the IG. If I was the IG, I'll tell the man, please, excuse me. I was appointed to operate and I'll do it. These instructions from the political powers, they are so temporal. And that's what the IG, the current IG, should be very careful of. And my fear again from him is that he openly told the country and the nation that he has junkie police, and with such instructions, guess what we are expecting? We might, you know what junkies do, eh?
Yeah.
So if now in the police you have junkie police,
are we safe as a citizen?
We are not.
If that statement is coming from the PIG,
imagine
the general. Are we safe as citizens?
He did contend that the connotation behind the term junkies or junkie police officers was that there was some element of unprofessionalism within the police officers themselves, and the police officers that were seen to have been attached to certain political parties, so we're trying to clear up the mess.
No.
Is it justification enough?
No, it's not. You are telling us to say in the police, who will you isolate to say this one, does he know them? So that is so threatening to the peace and the society. If we have such a group of people who we expect them to protect us, them to abide by the law, and they are junkies.
Let me ask you this question. There's a video that is going viral of a man from Matero constituency. Matero constituency, whose landlord allegedly died in police custody. because obviously he was on medication. Then the police officers at a named police station in Material constituency couldn't allow the family, the relatives to give him that medication, and hence he is allegedly to have died in police custody. One, case in point. Two, there's a video clip that went viral yesterday. It was on major Facebook, social media platforms, where police officers, traffic police officers, are seen in uniform manhandling a motorist, punching him, and it's there in plain sight.
Yeah.
Are these the same junkies that the Inspector General of Police might be referring to?
As a member of the public of this country, Zambia, I'll conclude to say these are the junkies he sends to.
So they are on our roads.
Yes, they are everywhere.
Stations, they are everywhere.
Exactly.
They are patrolling.
When you see their behavior or they are misbehaving, don't be worried and start complaining, because the highest position in police has confirmed it. We don't need to be worrying about it. Just be careful and know how to defend yourself. Otherwise, they are in the rampage.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so now my other question is, look, the UPND currently as an administration is employing, right? Is offering jobs to maybe, let's say, in the defense force, teachers, promotions, people are being promoted, people are being taken to this department, to that department. Now, in an event that UPPZ forms government, are you going to say these people are employed under the UPND, so they should be flushed out of the system?
As a responsible person, a responsible political party, a responsible leadership, definitely screening is important.
Okay.
In as much as you are screening, you shouldn't look at their tribal attachment.
Okay.
No. A Zambian is a Zambian. Qualified for that job is qualified. If the political appointment came as a result of him before he was part of the people chopping people's heads, then he was just given that job because of what he was doing, then definitely such people have to be flushed out, fired, because they are not there for the good service of the people, but it is a payback for the things the person was doing. So that should be done for any responsible government if they are to operate independently without any interference. UPPZ, if God allow, should God allow, we form government, definitely there will be such, but not on tribal grounds. No. A Zambian is a Zambian, qualified for certain jobs. You are qualified, and you do the work under UPPZ, but under the policies, the good policies that we have, to make sure that Zambians are number one.
Okay, Mr. Sakala, I have a question for you. Your party leader is on record to have said that with the minerals that we have, he cited emeralds, that we can pay part or some of the country's debt, both to internal and external creditors, if we utilize the minerals that we have, and they cited emeralds. Now, there's an argument that has been put forward that 3 trucks were intercepted in Kabwe Central Province, and they were carrying sugilite, and 1 truck, obviously, according to information that we have, is 750 million United States dollars, and there were 3 trucks of sugilite. Now, I want to find out, Zambia has gone under what is known as debt restructuring, postponing the date to be paid in 10 years or in some years to come. How is UPPZ, in an event that you form government in 2026, you will still be expected to pay the external debt to the bondholders and external creditors? how are you going to raise that money internally? Because obviously your president is on record to have said that we can mobilize resources from within the country and be able to pay this debt that we owe to the creditors.
Zambia, comrade, is rich.
Okay.
Zambia should not be borrowing. Zambia should not even be negotiating for debt restructuring.
But why do you borrow as politicians? Even the UPND is borrowing right now.
Hold on. It's not about what we do not have. It's a lack of leadership. We do not have leaders that do mean well for this country. Full stop.
Okay.
If now there is that report right here in Kabwe of 3 trucks carrying materials worth 700 plus $50 million, can't that pay some debt? Just that, those 3 trucks. Those are the only ones you know. What about those that we don't know?
Those that are undocumented.
Yes. When they removed the roadblocks all over, the things that made them to
I thought that was to ease traffic.
Which is in traffic when a roadblock leaving the one, whether it's district to the other, you don't remove such roadblocks.
I thought that was to ease
No,
traffic.
no, it wasn't.
Smooth flow of traffic.
Definitely it wasn't. That's the period we heard of, God works in mystery as well.
Too much.
We heard of a truck carrying Mukula fell in what this Chirundu Kapiringos.
Yes! Oh, that was the time.
I'm telling you, because I was this side, I went and found that truck.
Laden with Mukula.
Yes.
And it's isn't Mukula illegal?
Mukula is a good, it does good money for the country.
But isn't it illegal?
No,
especially under the new dawn.
Under the new dawn, it's called illegal, but people are transacting in those things. Now, if you check, who does that?
Who's in charge?
Yes, that's the issue. And the Zambians should take keen interest in these matters. Zambia, let me come back to my response to your question. Zambia is such rich that we should be lending other nations. Whether you believe me or not, just by the minerals we have, the natural resources we have should give you that confidence to say, yes, this is what Zambia should be known of. We should be known for lending, not borrowing.
Now, Mr. Sakara, let me ask you this question. We are using this administration as a case in point anyway. They are the ones that are there. There was a promise that youths are going to be given licenses, and especially the president did make mention of this during his ascension speech at Community House when he was giving his ascension speech when he was elected as the 7th Republican President of Zambia. One of the things he said is that youths, citizens will partner with foreign nationals, one, in Mukula trade obviously, 2, in giving mining licenses, 3, in any business venture, you partner with a foreign national, then you have the license as a Zambian. So a foreign national just partners with you. However, that is not being seen to happen. We still have youths complaining. Outside the UPND and inside the UPND, we have youths that are complaining. How are you going to address the plight of youths in terms of them being proper, refined, certified entrepreneurs, not cooperative owners on paper?
Thank you. In all of us, we have some responsibility to do as leaders, as parents in homes.
Okay.
In this case, yes, we are pointing at the current government, which is the New Dawn, who have failed to do what they promised. prior to the election, even whilst they were elected, and the speech, which was just excellent, to raise the bar and so on.
Oh, you remember that?
Oh yes,
speech
oh
at
yes.
Community House.
Of course. I'm an interested party in this country. That's why sometimes we come out the way we come out, because somebody is not being responsible over his own words, and also the title is carrying.
Okay.
So yeah, we need people to
Has
be
the bar been
responsible.
raised, according to you people say?
No, nothing.
Is that mean the Champions League, sir?
No. If we are crying for debt restructuring, in which league are we in?
But
in fact,
but one at given this time argues that, look, the debt restructuring way is the only way we can go, because it means we'll be saving 70% of the resources that are supposed to be part of our national budget, and these can be utilized in other sectors. And Minister of Finance and National Planning is on record of having mentioned that.
I don't like people scamming me and telling me things that they can never do.
Okay.
That offends some of us.
The patriotism in you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Debt restructuring should not even be the way to go, because money is there. That's why people, because it's just the misuse, lack of people who are supposed to lead us are not there. We have thieves that are supposed to be behind bars leading us.
Are you able to point at those thieves?
I mean, those 3 trucks that were impounded, the owners are criminals, definitely. How do you impound something that was illegal? That's what I'm talking about.
So you want the faces behind those trucks? Who owns those trucks?
If we bring them here, then we will know, oh, this criminal should not be leading us, he should be behind the bars.
Okay.
We have records of people being accused of carrying sugil out of the country, selling some now. If you call them, yes, you are a chairman for this political party in power, but look at the monies you are having. Where did you get it from? They can't explain it.
Are you also indicating that this administration has done more harm than good to the Zambians, despite setting a benchmark that now you and I can also have a free prospect of moving into a bus station or a market with that political regalia without intimidation?
Intimidations are there. I'm telling you what I've seen. We just came from a by-election. Those things are there. A DC, for my goodness. I've changed the name now. Instead of a district commission, these are destructive cadres. A DC in your face is telling the people, beat this person. For my goodness sake. It's happening.
Okay.
Right now in this new dawn. So this phase of now there's peace has always been there in this country. Since independence, we have been enjoying peace. It's just that maybe if in the previous, those guys, they thought they can, you understand. We have not reached that far, but I see those threatening situations coming.
Under the new dawn.
Under the new dawn government.
Time and again you've...
Just recently, we had, is that Chirumburu Road or Bama Road, where the cadres were walking, stopping every vehicle. Did you see that? Yes. That happened under the new dawn government. Now, if people like that start being big-headed and thinking we are the traffic police, we can stop anybody at will at any time, we can tell you stop. You try to...
We do have a caller.
Mr. Sakala, let's get to pick this call. Good morning, welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, your name and where you're calling us from?
I'm calling you from Camnet.
Sure.
Your name?
James.
Okay, Mr. James, you may go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. First, in the first place, I would like to correct your pastor who says who put people like pressing, and I don't think that you can call people like UPND supporters, not press singers, because I mean, if the government is, if someone feels the government is doing the right thing, then their opinion should be respected. Not that if someone praises the current government and to call them praise singers, means because the people are mostly associated with calling others as praise singers are PF affiliated people. Yeah, the things like meeting, we know things are quite expensive, but it's not for one person to fix our problems. It's we should, as journalists, we should do the country a favor by encouraging people to work, not just to criticize government, like especially Camnet TV. They seem to be too much of a government. So,
okay, Mr. James. Mr. James? Okay, what is your point exactly?
the point is...
Are you a UPND supporter?
Hello?
Are you a UPND supporter?
No, I am just a... This is a who
okay.
Like what the progress which the government is making.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Do you accept constructive criticism?
Yes, that's because democracy, that's what democracy is about.
Okay.
Because even God is fought by the devil despite him doing the right thing. So there should be criticism. You can't run away from criticism because even God himself is being challenged by despite him being the creator of everything, but he's challenged. So why should a human being not accept the criticism?
Okay, thank you so much. Your time is up, Mr. James. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Maybe you can maybe react to that. It seems like Mr. James doesn't want dissenting views.
Democracy, you don't put things in people to think and say what you want. No,
doesn't look like that.
No.
Okay.
Democracy, like me, I came here. What I'm saying, even maybe my president can never say it. Why? Because of democracy. And what I'm saying, you may never maybe say it because it's just an open market of talking. As long as you are not offending the law, you are not say it, let it come out of you. It's just unfortunately happening that in this new Dawn government, the democratic space is almost shrinking, where they think they can go to churches and make it preachers prepare their sermons for them. You understand what I'm talking? I'm referring this to a father, the father that was summoned, and
Father Chonkosa.
Exactly. So in short, pastors, preachers, or whatever, the people that go on the pulpit, they have a mandate. They have a congregation.
Now, Mr. Sakala, let me find out from you.
Sure.
Why do you politicians, when, for instance, as UPPZ, what you are saying right now, you are on record. When you form government, we remind you that Mr. Sakala, on such and such a day, on Camnet TV, you said this. Why aren't you fulfilling it? Your supporters, you yourself, you are going to turn around and say, you are opposition.
UPPZ is
are you
different.
immune to criticism as a
No,
politician?
no.
Constructive criticism?
No.
Are you immune to
If
advice
anything,
as politicians?
that should make you feel happy and do a better thing.
Let's get to pick this score and then we pick it up from there. You're through to the Camnet TV breakfast show.
Okay.
We've lost that call, and please, when you're calling in, try by all means to minimize the volume on a TV set so that we can have a pure and clear discuss as we get to also fuse in your contributions, because we also want to get feedback from you. Now, Mr. Sakala, you are explaining something.
So, in short, as UPPZ, we are a different organization.
How different, sir?
Because there is leadership there. They know what it means to be a leader. Not because of some gain.
Maybe maybe somebody out there may also want some context in terms of what leadership you are talking about.
What leadership style?
Sure. Exactly.
We have a caller now, sir.
Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Washenko volume ku TV.
Hello?
Hello, today on for Tishna Tbanani.
We're getting feedback.
Hello?
Hello, today on for Washenko volume ku TV.
I know Sunday.
I'm quiet. I'm Sunday.
Hii nevalilanda po mkwai now for ngeza netalo kona ika because abantu abalesa pakuteko bonke kufayo kuingira mukeji.
Okay.
Kuingira mu ministry then no kwambo kulanda na mapastors. At the end of the day, utungushi kwa lesa nemilimo ya kugombanga government ile filika mchalo kulingana na ukwayo kwa lesa. So, government putting about some power, look for the migration. Migration, kulia bantu, mwepuleo, everybody machine, and over the Balabafela Makati. I am a passport. We should take away a quitter. So, when the kitchen is passing to the government, no longer when that British child. But pastor and rubber parents is the government. That is meaning as one of our member of
Okay.
This is my consent.
Twatotera sana on Sunday.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Innocent Chonde there.
Oh, Innocent Chonde, yes. Let's get to pick it up from Mr. Chonde's perspective as well as the question I asked to say, what leadership in this context are we talking about? For that layman who might be watching us this morning, maybe
for Mr. Chonde to understand.
To understand
that when you come into office, you won't interfere with the church.
You have seen, you know President Charles Chanda. For those of you who do not know him, is a simple Zambian man who has come down to the poor people or the people that cannot manage a number of certain things. For instance, right now, land has been exploited, but he has come in to make sure that every Zambian acquires or gets some piece of land. In this case, he says, according to our policy, one NRC, one land. When he is not in government, he has brought land on the table for Zambian, affordable land for that matter. People sometimes, I've seen people buying land at as low as 1,000 kwacha, a piece of land.
Isn't that being done to gain political expediency?
Yes. No,
Mr. Sakala.
Because he bought land for $1.6 million in Makeni West and started selling at 10,000 kwacha for the people of Zambia, empowering them with land. That's a heart for leadership. Show me a president who has been a president for the past, for these seven are current. The current one is 7th. Show me any of them who was doing goodwill to the people.
President Hakainde is on record that at the time when the mining incident in Copper Belt, he did give out about 15,000 kwacha to families that were affected.
Sure. As president?
Exactly, as president.
So Mr. Sakala is asking that before he became president.
I'm talking about before you became a president of the Republic of Zambia, the goodwill you did before. Show me one of those from the 7 on record. You will find out that it's none. So right now, what I'm simply saying is President Charles Chanda, right now as I'm talking to you, he has empowered over 20,000. 20 over. I know. I'm speaking from experience, and these people have been empowered, given their land. They have started building. Away from there, the mining sector, he runs mines. To show you that Zambia has the capacity, not what I normally hear about. So Zambia is what? It's the people.
So, Mr. Sakala, he runs mines, your party leader, Mr. Charles Chanda. So when he talks about selling emeralds to pay the debt.
It's from experience, yes.
Okay.
And these people, they know. Just Google for 1 carat of first grade emerald, you will see. And that first grade comes from here. You will see what it is.
Then why is this country poor?
It's the people the leaders' minds which are poor. Zambians are not poor. They have been made to be poor by the leadership minds which are poor.
And how do we change that narrative?
It's putting better, good leaders like Charles Chanda, who means well for the country. The man has put his money so that you and me, who cannot afford the exploitation of land from the to afford that land. No. And according to UPPZ's policy, you vote for UPPZ, I'm telling you, each Zambian will have a land to point at. Because we know Zambia is not the air we breathe. Zambia is not the NRC you are carrying. Zambia is not the building that you built. Zambia is land. And we are saying we want Zambia to be Zambian. In short, a Zambian should own a piece of land for you to be a proud Zambian.
Mr. Sakala, let's get to wrap it up, I think, in a minute, in terms of how the country's cost of living, cost of doing business can actually be stabilized vis-a-vis foreign, the exchange rate, where we've seen that the kwacha should start getting strength for a good cause, not those fluctuations that would have been observed.
Thank you. Zambia has the potential to have its kwacha to be strong. We have the power to export. That power is there. But our leaders have not utilized that power. We export. You see the copper, large quantities. These emeralds, just that they go secretly. They are not on record. Who talks about them in the government? You find none. God, you just hear about scammers all over. You understand? So if all these are put into good use by the government, our kwacha can be the most, in fact, the strongest. It can hit back this dollar which is raising its ugly head here.
The finance minister, as we begin to wrap up, the finance minister not so long ago promised the nation, Dr. Honorable Stumbekom Sokotoane promised the nation that watch out for the kwacha. It's going to be bullish towards the US dollar. It's going to start appreciating. However, the kwacha hasn't appreciated. We saw it coming to 22. Then it has gone back to 25. This morning is at what?
25 kwacha point 3 is wrong way. 25
kwacha. And it's been there. It comes 24, it goes back to 25. And yet the minister told us that it's going to put up a bullish fight against the United States dollar. Let me ask you this question as we wrap it up. What seems to be the problem with Zambia? I know you've talked about leadership, but how do we change the narrative? How do we identify, recognize a leader in these politicians that we have, including Mr. Charles Chanda, that this is a leader that will bring a paradigm shift, that will bring the much needed change that Zambia needs? Because change, of course, from basic chemistry, from solid, it changes to liquid, the evidence is there. From liquid, it changes to gas. The evidence is there, but 60 years down the line, Zambia seems to be in the colonial era and nothing much to write home about. How do we identify that leadership? How do we choose that leadership? How do we have a paradigm shift? Mr. Sakala.
Like I said, we have a chance. We have seen people, how they live, what they have given, even before you give them the mantle to spearhead the whole country, the resources of the whole country. We have seen them. Some we have never heard, seen, but we just read. Oh, he's rich. Hey, he's what? He's a billionaire. But those billions, you have never seen it. Somebody open and say, okay, Zambians have bought you this piece of land, share it. You understand? So that's that's how we know them.
Okay.
We know them by their character, the fruit within them.
So we go back to the Bible.
No,
we
no,
know them by their fruit.
Yes, that the Bible is true. So it is what we see them doing right now before they ascend there. They will never change.
Okay.
Absolutely. So this governance of rhetoric, just talking and things don't change, it's a new Dawn government. The minister, you said, he confirmed and said the Kwacha will appreciate it.
No, he's on record. It's in public domain.
But that's just the talking. Where are we? The president spoke. Where are we? So in short, the talking will never stop. We'll continue hearing things. But we want a proactive government or leadership. People that will act and stand to say, okay, yes, in the mining sector. It doesn't take you years to do that. Yes, give us a report on how much you get mine minerals, because according to
but
the laws,
NRA has told you that it's hard to get revenue from the mines. It's hard to track their mineral.
Let me tell you, comrade, minerals are there.
But NRA has told you that it's hard to account, to hold these mines to account.
He can't do it. He should resign and, in fact, be fired. There's nothing like you can't. Can't you take a stock of this studio?
Absolutely.
You can. So if you are given a responsibility, he should just tell us he has failed. I've stopped because I'm a failure. Zambia has all arms everywhere.
Okay.
Let's say in the mining sector, just the mining. Let's forget about any other, whether it's farming or the mining only.
Under a minute.
Under a minute I'll give you, though it's not possible. But the issue is, we have people who can be put as responsible people to check each mine how much they are getting. Because every land where you are stepping is for the president. Do you know that? Yes. No, now you is in charge as the president. You say you don't know. Then we are doomed. We are in a very big problem.
We need to go. Thank you so much for coming.
We call it a wrap on a Thursday where we were discussing all issues relating to current affairs. And I guess this morning was United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia Secretary General Kondwela Sakala, who just helped us in terms of having this discussion. And we said thank you for all those comments that did come through via our Facebook platform as well as the phone calls. We do really appreciate. Not until next time, keep it on Camnet, and remember to catch Joe at exactly 13 as he dives into the lunchtime cafe, and ensuring that you've got lunch with him, although he doesn't come with a plate of Hishima on the show to share what he's going to be having for
I'll
you
bring
on,
it up
on the show. And we didn't have a cup of tea either, but we call it a wrap. And Traveler just smarter must be smiling at myself. It's bye for now.
Mr. Sagara, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Zambia, are you ready? Zambia Youth Conference 2024 is here with Archbishop Dr. Bernard and Mrs. Bibiana Nwaka under the theme Raising the Next Generation of Priests and Kings. From the 17th to the 21st of April 2024, speakers Apostle Dr. Francis Pius, Bishop Robinson Fondong, and others, and ministering in music Ephraim, Son of Africa. Time from the 17th to the 19th of April from 4 p.m. On the 20th of April from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On the 21st of April from 9 a.m. at Living Water Global Church in Kitwe, Zambia, near Usakile roundabout behind Puma Pumping Station. Come and become a history maker.
Over 400 individuals are set to join the ranks of hundreds currently unemployed or on forced leave with no indication of when normalcy will return to KCM. In a termination notice from Konkola Copper Mine's largest contractor, Mastermind Services, that has been trending in the last few days, the letter states that following the diminishing of operations at KCM Mastermind project of Konkola Copper Mine, and the subsequent non-availability of alternative areas of deployment, certain workers' services will no longer be required. Therefore, their employment contracts will be terminated on the 26th of April 2024. The statement has displeased the Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, who are calling on the government to look into the plight of mine workers on the Copperbelt province. Speaking to Camnet News, FFTUZ Secretary General Nelson Mwale says it is unfortunate that the country is improving with Mopani Copper Mine, whilst the opposite is occurring at Konkola Copper Mine.
It's regrettable, and that is the reason why many are the times that we've been encouraging government to bring us trust with and truthful investors, so that we don't put our workers on the copper belt in a very awkward position. Remember that there are a lot of unsettled legal issues between Vedanta and government, and so this may be an attribute of where we are going through. I think we are calling upon government to resolve those matters amicably, so that at the end of the day we have a workforce that is certain about what will happen tomorrow.
Mr. Mwale notes that mining being the primary source of income for most people on the copper belt, such actions will increase poverty levels in the region.
With Mopani, government has scored, and again we have been reversed with Konkola Copper Mine, with such a number of people being laid off. I think it's a very, very regrettable situation. If we are not careful, we may be adding more and more poverty, especially for our people on the copper belt, Chiraomba and Chingola especially, that solely dependent on mining. You remember that the economic wheels of the copper belt can only can only be driven, through the mines. And so any confusion that is attributed to the mining industry creates a very, very awkward position for our people on the copper belt.
For the past few months, various stakeholders have called on the government to state the status of Vendata resources on KCM if Vendata will take over KCM operations, so as to protect jobs and create business opportunities for Copperbelt residents. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Come to fruition and have contributed to the good spot where we now are. On top of those three strategies, PS, we also are now in a good space when it comes to primary health care because of the program of buying health center kits, which have been bought from Mission Pharma, and the roll in at 7,000 health kits at any one time every 2 months. So when it comes to primary health care, we are happy to let the nation know through you, sir, that the problem is not there.
Appeal to our health workers that they should desist from this system of pilferage of medication, of this system of deliberately giving our people prescriptions. And these are not just prescriptions of medicine, but it is prescription with direction. Ubasamu prescription kuti mankhwala kunokuliye tenganyaka kaguleni apo, pointing at their own arrangements. We want to clamp down on that, and I'm aware that there are efforts in that direction, and very soon the nation will see culprits that will be brought to book and severely punished for stealing medicines and coming up with their own timbers and selling the medicines that government.
The Council of Churches in Zambia, Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, and Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops expressed deep concern and condemning the strongest terms the recent anomaly surrounding Father Jerome Kosa's supposed summons to attend interviews at the Zambia Police Division Headquarters building in Ndola. The EFZ, CCZ, and ZCCB note with gratitude information that the Zambia Police has retracted the call and commend them for doing so. However, it is perplexing to note the contradiction by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Mr. Tawo Kawana, who completely denied the existence of any call out. It is highly irregular and unacceptable that contradictory statements and actions have emerged regarding Father Jerome Kosa's situation, especially from two senior government officials. This situation undermines transparency, accountability, and the rule of law, all of which are crucial for a functioning and democratic society. We reiterate our stance against any form of harassment, intimidation, or undue pressure on individuals, especially religious leaders who exercise their freedom of speech and expression responsibly. We believe in freedom of speech and after speech. Let's emphasize that one, freedom of speech, but also after that speech has been given, there must be freedom of expression, and after.
We are very shocked that Honorable Mwimbo was probably misinformed, or we don't know what is going on in government, because what has been happening in this government, which one thing we have observed, of course, is that there is poor communication in the way they do things. Today, Honorable Mwimbo came to say that UKA cannot, is not a registered entity. Okay? But some few days ago, when we received a letter from the police, they told us we cannot have a rally because UKA, because they don't have enough manpower, or they don't have issues to do with manpower, and then the security concerns which they are raising. So we don't know how to believe. So we want to clear this, that Citizens First has not been given any permit anywhere in this country to have a rally. And what Honorable Mwimbo said is not correct, it's not true. And we are appealing on Honorable Mwimbo to immediately retract that statement and apologize to the nation, to the CF and the leadership, to correct that, that misinformation that he has given to the nation. That is not correct, because the correct position is that we have not been given any permission to hold a rally.